Hello everyone, it's so great to see you again for this week's video update. I hope that you had a wonderful week and that you're looking forward to the upcoming weekend. As I like to do every Friday, just a reminder that Adoration of the Blessed Sacrament is going on right now in the church. If you're watching this video on Friday, June 27th, that goes until 7 p.m. this evening, so you have an opportunity to go into the chapel and just spend some quiet time with the Lord in prayer. We've just celebrated this past Sunday the solemnity of the body and blood of the Lord, reminding us what a gift the Eucharist is, and Jesus desires to remain with us so that we can come into his presence and pray and be with him, just like those crowds did that where he performed the miracle of the feeding of the 5,000, and just as he did for so many during the days of his ministry, he wants to remain with us, and that he does that in the Holy Eucharist. So he's right there waiting for us, so I'd encourage you to make it an effort to stop by and visit with him. This coming weekend, this Sunday, June the 29th, we have a special celebration, another special celebration. June 29th is the solemnity of the Saints Peter and Paul. So this particular feast day it takes precedence over what would be a regular Sunday in ordinary time. So because it is a solemnity, it takes the place of the Sunday in ordinary time. So we have an extra feast before we get back to the Sundays in ordinary time. And Peter and Paul are celebrated as a solemnity because Peter and Paul are the co-patrons of the city of Rome. And of course we are Roman Catholics. So this is a very important day on the church's calendar to celebrate the two patrons of the city of Rome. Paul, of course, was the great apostle to the Gentiles, and he was a Roman citizen. So when he was to be executed, he had the right of appealing to the emperor, and so he was brought to Rome. But of course we know that ultimately he was martyred there in the city of Rome. He was beheaded. And above the spot where he was martyred in Rome now is his tomb. It's the Basilica of St. Paul outside the walls. And he's buried under the floor there in the Basilica. And then Peter, of course, we know St. Peter was one of the Lord's 12 apostles. And he was chosen by the Lord. His name was Simon, and he was chosen to be Rock Peter, upon whose the Lord's church is built. The rock of the profession of his faith in Jesus, the church is built on, and he is the leader of the apostles. He was the spokesman of the apostles. We see that all throughout the Acts of the Apostles. And so his successors are the popes, the bishops of Rome, who have a place of leadership and authority over the entire church. So, of course, Peter also was martyred in the city of Rome. He was martyred on the Vatican Hill, which was one of the 7 hills of the ancient city of Rome. And, of course, we know it today. It keeps its name. It's the Vatican. It's where the Basilica of St. Peter's is built, and the Basilica of St. Peter is built on the tomb of the apostle, and you can actually go down into underneath the floor of the Basilica in what's called the grottos there, and you see the tomb of the apostle. And it was a tradition for centuries that the Basilica was built on the bones of St. Peter, but it was only in the 1950s when there were various excavations that took place underneath the basilica, that a tomb was found separate from all the rest of the tombs that are underneath the basilica in the ancient catacombs that are under there. And there was graffiti on the wall, and the graffiti on the wall said, "Peter is here." And they did DNA testing on the bones that were there in that particular place, and they were found to be of a first century man from Palestine. So those are more than likely the bones of St. Peter. So that ancient tradition, through literally thousands of years, proved to be true, and we really didn't know it until the 1950s, which is truly amazing. So Peter was martyred on that hill, and the basilica there was named after him. There was a circus there for the Romans, and a basilica was eventually built there, and Constantine gave that over to the church, and that was St. Peter's Basilica. That was the original basilica, and the one we see today is actually the new St. Peter's Basilica. So there's a little history of Peter and Paul, the patrons of the city of Rome. So we get to celebrate that special feast day this weekend at all of our masses. A few other things that are going on in the parish. We're getting ready for a small group experience called the Rescue Project, coming up in just a couple weeks with Father John Riccardo. I think all of us realize that the gospel has great power, and we want to know that power in our lives and also unleash that power into the world. So this small group study is going to help us to understand that. Father John Riccardo is a very dynamic speaker, so I think you're going to enjoy hearing from him. And then at the end of those videos, we're going to have a little workshop on how to tell our story, how to tell our personal story of faith. Everyone has one. You might not think that you do, but you do. It might not involve lightning bolts from the sky and big, great conversions and things like that, but everyone really does have a story. And also, going on in the parish, Seminarian Matthew is looking for to train a new group of altar servers. Young people, boys and girls, rising into the 4th grade, are eligible for altar serving all the way up through high school. So, if you or someone that you know would like to or are interested in that, you can shoot Seminarian Matthew an email. His email address is in the email that I sent to you today, and he will be in touch with those dates for training. So thanks a lot for taking some time to watch this week's video. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to seeing you at Mass. God bless you.